Thanks for tuning in to the City of Caldwell podcast. Today, we have Julie Warwick with Meals on Wheels in town joining us today. Julie, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit, and thanks for letting us know about all the good things that's happening with Meals on Wheels. But first, can you just tell us who you are? Who's Julie Warwick, the person? Like, where'd you come from? What got you here, and all that good stuff.
Alrighty, well, I'm Julie Warwick. I've lived in Caldwell since 1980, so longer than a lot of people. I was born in Seattle, moved with my parents here when I was a teenager, and ended up in Caldwell and love it still. Wouldn't live anywhere else. I'm the director of Caldwell Meals on Wheels, have been for almost 16 years, and absolutely love my job. For those of you that don't know, I'm also an urban renewal commissioner for the city of Caldwell, and that's been great as well. We work on some amazing projects with some amazing folks.
So we should thank you for the plaza. So thank you, appreciate it. A lot of other people.
Oh, it was a lot of people took to make that dream happen.
Well, thanks for just spending some time with us today. And I'm just curious, what got you into Meals on Wheels?
It's kind of funny, actually. I joined Meals on Wheels, Caldwell Meals on Wheels, in 2009. There was a horrible economic downturn in 2009, and I had a job as a project supervisor for a construction company. And construction went away in 2009, and I had to find something else to do. So I kind of joined as just a volunteer driver, and about a year later ended up being asked if I wanted to become director of the program. So I said, you bet, and here I am, and I love it still.
And really quickly, if people want to find you physically, you're at the Caldwell Senior Center.
I do have an office in the Caldwell Senior Center right behind the library.
Okay, and before I forget, let's just do it now. If people want to volunteer or donate, just get more information, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, they can give us a call, 208-454-8142, or we also have a website you can contact us through or make a donation, www.caldwellmealsonwheels.com. Or you can stop in and visit, and I'd love to meet you and talk to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I guess my first question is, what do you love most about what you do?
I love most about going out every single day and seeing the difference we make in the lives of the seniors that we serve. Like I said, I've been out there delivering meals for almost 16 years. I have some clients that we've been serving for 13 of those 16 years, some of my long-term folks. And we grow to love them. We grow to love them. We see the changes that happen in their lives. We're able to help them make some transitions that they need to make. It's just seeing folks every day and seeing the difference that we can make and how much they appreciate it.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, what do you think would be the biggest challenge for Meals on Wheels right now?
Well, we rely pretty heavily on federal funding. About a third of our funding comes directly from the federal government through the Older Americans Act. We don't quite know what's going to happen with that at the federal level. Another third of our funding comes through Medicaid, because we also serve Medicaid clients, which is also federal government, and we don't know what's happening there. And the other third comes through donations, grants, fundraisers. You know, we work hard for that last third of the money.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thanks for all the hard work. I'm just curious, what are some of your bigger fundraisers that you do to raise money?
Well, the main fundraiser I do every year at Christmas time, I do it in November, and it's just an online Facebook fundraiser that I put out on my Facebook page as well as the Meals on Wheels Facebook page. And we raise money to provide Christmas bags to every single person. And we serve about 150 folks. And so it takes no small amount of money to make that happen. And folks donate, and we go out and we shop and we put together those bags. And we've been doing it, I'm going to say probably 10 or 11 years now. And we've been able to do it every single year. And people are so grateful. Sometimes we've heard from so many people that it's the only gift they get every year because they just don't have family.
Yeah. Well, so glad that you guys do that.
Yeah. The other major fundraiser and helps us a lot, and we probably wouldn't exist without it. The Canyon County Festival of Trees. It's not just a fundraiser for us. The Canyon County Festival of Trees is its own organization. It has its own board of directors, of which I am one. And we put that on every year at the Fort Idaho Center, Thanksgiving weekend. And that raises a good chunk of money for us every year. We got a little over $60,000 from this last year's festival.
Wow.
And we don't know what we would do without that. And it's a whole volunteer board of directors, and every one of us works about 90 hours a day putting that thing on for about a week.
So if somebody out there says, wow, Meals on Wheels, that sounds really cool. Maybe they have parents who are kind of, aging in that demographic, or maybe somebody is older, more mature, I guess. And they're like, man, I think that would be a really good service for me. How does somebody get involved with that?
Well, kind of the main qualifications are you have to be 60 years or older, which doesn't seem old to me anymore now that I'm over that. But basically homebound, or having difficulty accessing reliable transportation, and unable to prepare a nutritious meal for yourself. A lot of people can stick a frozen dinner in the microwave. That's not a healthy meal. So unable to prepare a nutritious meal for themselves. And that would be, they would qualify then through the funding that we get through the Area 3 Senior Services Agency. And their meals, then they would get, there's no actual charge for the meals when you qualify through that program, but it's a $5 suggested donation per meal. Our Medicaid clients, Medicaid qualifies them, and they just send me the names, and we put them on the program. We've also got folks that don't quite qualify somehow, but still really could benefit from a meal. And those people we can put on the program, and they pay for the meals themselves at the rate of $7.25 a meal, which is still way less than you could go get a fully nutritional balanced meal in a restaurant.
Or even a hamburger at a fast food restaurant nowadays.
Exactly,
right?
You're exactly right, yep.
Well, again, I'm I feel fortunate that something like this exists in our neck of the woods, especially in Caldwell, especially for our citizens. What are some frequently asked questions that you get that you have to answer all the time?
What do I need to do to qualify? What kind of meals do you serve? Lots of questions like that. We've been around since 1975. This is actually our 50-year anniversary. And we do more than meals now that people don't really realize. Last year, for 2023, we served just over 36,000 meals. This year, it's going to be closer to 40,000 because the numbers just keep going up because us baby boomers are aging and getting into the demographic where we need that kind of help. The things that I'm asked a lot of times is, how can I help? We always need volunteers. All of our meals are delivered by volunteers and me. I've got about 30 volunteers that donate not only their time, but their personal vehicles to go out and deliver those meals every day. We have 3 routes that go out every day in Caldwell and deliver a hot meal to about 110 folks every single day, Monday through Friday. We also serve folks in Middleton and Greenleaf and rural areas of Caldwell. And we go out to those places once a week on Tuesdays, and we bring them frozen meals to last for the week. So, just because you're not inside the Caldwell city limits doesn't mean we won't serve you. We'll figure out a way, or we'll find somebody who can.
Nice. Without getting into too many of the details, I guess but is there like a client or two that come to mind that, like, man, you guys are all my favorite, but these, this one or two really has my heart? Are there any stories or people like that you have?
Oh gosh, there have been many over the years, and some of the worst thing about my job is that we deal with elderly people, and they pass away, and that's the worst thing, is when you've known somebody for a number of years and you've served them on a daily basis, and they pass away. It's really hard. There are so many stories. There was one lady, she's since passed away, who we started delivering to back when my daughter was in high school, and she used to deliver with me on school holidays and in the summertime, and they got to be very close. And my daughter went over and helped her a lot. And when my daughter went away for college, Trudy wanted to figure out a way to help her. And so she decided she was going to send her $20 a month to help with any expenses. Now, Trudy couldn't afford to do that, but Trudy wanted to do that. My daughter Kelly invited her to her graduation party because she had no local family, and she felt so loved, by not only by daughter but by the Meals on Wheels family, that it was awesome. They call us when they need things and they don't know who else to call. So even though it's not something that we do, we will get calls from some of those folks. In fact, that's kind of what inspired us to start our pet program that we are able to fund through a grant through PetSmart Charities. We help folks on our route with pet food and vet care. It's a proven fact. They've done studies that seniors are happier and live longer when they live with a pet and have a pet to take care of and love. Besides the fact that folks were sharing their meals with their pets, and we prefer that they eat that healthy food rather than sharing with their pets. So we do that. We deliver pet food out once a month to folks, and they're very, very grateful for it. There's just so many stories. There's one gentleman who I originally served out in Greenleaf. He lived out in Greenleaf, and he was on our frozen route once a week. And then he moved into Caldwell, and he just happened to end up on the route that I deliver. So I still deliver to him every day. I love him to pieces. In fact, he called me this morning and said, I'm not going to be home to get a meal today. I have to go to the doctor. And so just skip me for today. But today is the day he gets not only his hot meal for today, but he gets his frozen meals for the weekend. So I said, I don't want you to miss those. I want you to get those. So you just text me when you're home, and I will bring them by after. So when we're done here, I'm going to go deliver the meals to him so that he doesn't have to do without them for the weekend. And I would do that for any of our folks. I've helped folks kind of navigate through getting onto Medicaid, when they've needed it and they haven't been able to figure it out on their own. We can direct them to services that will help them in many cases. We had the fire department in that talked to some of our volunteers at our luncheon. And they came up to us afterwards and said, do any of your folks need smoke alarms or grab bars in their showers? And we said, absolutely. So we've reached out. We've been able to give a list to the fire department so they can go out and contact them and make them safer in their homes by making sure they have working smoke detectors. So it goes everywhere. And there are so many stories I could tell you. I don't have time to tell you.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. I guess one thing that came to my mind, and I guess it's related to Meals on Wheels, but it's not specific only just to Meals on Wheels, is you have so many touch points with the elderly population. I guess you would be the expert almost on, what's going on there. Are there certain needs, that you see more often? Are there ways that people can get involved more? Are there things missing resource-wise, for them? Or, what are the good things, that exist, for them? So can you just kind of talk a little bit about the things that you see that maybe the average person doesn't see or won't see, I guess?
Caldwell does not have great public transportation on a regular basis. However, Metro Community Services does provide, along with Valley, provide senior buses that will take seniors to appointments, to shopping. Many of them don't know that. So I love it when we can connect them up with that and make that happen for them. Basically, any questions that they have, we will try to figure out an answer to, because if they're asking us, it means they've tried to figure it out and they don't know. So it could be anything, from we had a gentleman who he lived in a fairly old and rundown house, and his front steps were wooden and they were falling apart, and it was kind of dangerous even for our volunteers to go up those steps. And we did hook him up with somebody in the community that was willing to go over there and rebuild those steps and not charge him a thing because he couldn't afford to pay for it. So those are the kinds of things, that if I know somebody has a skill out there that they're willing to help a senior with, if they let me know, I can kind of put it in my back pocket and have that for when somebody might ask and need something that this person could help with.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for that. Before we end, is there any last like thing that we didn't touch on that you would like to share or bring up or just touch on?
Oh gosh, there's so much. Aside from the 110 people that we serve every day in Caldwell, there's about 45 people that are in rural Caldwell, Middleton, and Greenleaf that we also serve. So 155 people. We don't make those meals ourselves. We purchase them from Metro Meals on Wheels. They're made in Meridian at the Meridian Senior Center, and we purchase them from the Meridian Senior Center. The cost to purchase a meal is more than the $5 suggested donation that we ask from folks. Donations are always very helpful to our program because not even everybody is able to donate. I would say maybe half of our folks make a donation, and I will see $50 checks come in for a month's worth of meals, which I'm very grateful for, but it covers about 10. So, fundraising donations, if people have ideas for fundraisers or want to put on fundraisers that we are the beneficiaries of, they can believe me that I will put that money to very, very good use.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thanks for sharing, and thanks for just giving us, a quick snapshot into what you do and you personally and everything. But yeah, thanks again for spending time with us and in educating me and I guess the citizens of Caldwell and beyond, just what you do and what you do matters. So thank you so much for just carrying on these folks, and hopefully, maybe one day when I'm there, I'll get a meal, from Meals on Wheels
You
one of
could
these
come
days.
volunteer
So
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
you certainly could. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Like I said, I love my job, and it's my pleasure to do what I do. And thank you for shining a spotlight on it. I appreciate that as well.
Cool. Yay.